Hey kids, it's Tool Tuesday, and today I'm going to talk to you about hex wrenches, also known as Allen wrenches. They're called Allen wrenches because there was a company called Allen Manufacturing that used to create them, used to manufacture them. But they're really hex wrenches because they have 6 sides, and so the generic term is hex wrench, but it's kind of like a Kleenex, where a Kleenex has kind of become known as tissue. It's just another name for tissue, really, and an Allen wrench is the same way as with the hex wrench. So, but before we get started, I do have a dad joke for you. So, this is actually an original. So, did you hear about the stomach surgeon that exchanged his tools for an Allen wrench? It was gut wrenching. So anyway, let's get started. So that's what an Allen wrench or a hex wrench looks like up close. It's got the same 6 sides on that side as it does on the other side. So you can turn this way or this way. All right, so they come with different holders, how they come. So you can actually, I didn't bring my other one out here. The original pack that I had was a pack, and then it just had a bunch of loose Allen wrenches inside of it. And then I found this, which is kind of nice. It's a holder, but as you can see, I didn't return some of them. So you can see those get lost. So these are handy though for, and I'll walk you through why that is. Because you can, so you can pull them out, see, and you can get more leverage by using it this way. Compared to this, you can't get a whole lot of leverage, right? If you're trying to twist this way, you can't get a whole lot of leverage. If you're trying to, if it's something that's a little tougher to tighten, you want to turn it this way and tighten that way, because then you got all this leverage here working for you, kind of like I showed you in the crowbar video, okay? So it's good for that, but then they can get lost if you don't put them back, right? So I also, this one came like this with probably something I had to put together, and they gave you this one with a handle. So that's one. This one works really well too because they actually stay there, right? You won't lose them. The only problem is if you are in a tight space and you want to be able to use that loose end, and you don't have room for this big handle, then you run into that. So, but what I like to use, I actually like to use a drill, and so this kit costs between $10 to $20, and it came with all kinds of different tips. And all right, so I got that extension like that, right? And then I just put that tip in there, okay? Because I'm going to put together this little shelf that I bought. I actually went over to that company that it's a big, large company that sells stuff fairly inexpensive, that Swedish company. I'm sure you know the company, and they a lot of times they'll give you this huge bookshelf or whatever that's pretty amazing, the price point on it, but then you pretty much have to assemble everything with an Allen wrench, right, or a hex wrench. And so what I like to do for that, I like to use a drill. And so you take a drill and then you put your adapter in there, like that. The main thing you got to worry about on this is you got to adjust this collar so that you don't over tighten it, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we'll just walk through it real quick and show you how to do that. One other funny thing I just got to share with you about that store that I mentioned. As you know, so I went in there thinking, okay, I can get something probably pretty inexpensive that then I can over tighten if I needed to and walk through it. But one thing that was, and I got it pretty inexpensive, but how I paid for it was with my time, trying to escape from that place. Honestly, I was like, oh, you're almost there. Oh, you're almost there. I'm going to turn around every which corner, and they're weaving me in and out. And I'm like, I just need to get to the register. Where's the register? Oh, just a couple more departments. Okay. Honestly, I wish I was wearing my step tracker, because I probably would have done more steps. It might have exploded based on the amount of steps that I actually took to procure this thing so that I could show you what not to do, because I wanted to get something fairly inexpensive that I could then show you when you over tighten what happens if you don't change that thing on your collar. So did I show you why the end of a tape measure wiggles? Okay, and so this, you would put it in here and you can twist, right, like that. Or with more leverage, it's a little easier. You can put it in and go around like that. But here's the way better way to go, is this guy, right? So we're going to use this let me see here. But you got to adjust that collar. I would go conservative, right? Go all the way down to one of the lower settings, because you'll see. So if I do this, oop, even that wasn't a low enough setting. Let's go all the way to the very end, okay? Not because if you, the more you go up here, the more torque it's going to have, right? So we want it to ratchet out early. So let's do this. Wow, that's even on the lowest setting. See, and that put it flush. So we just want to stick with that, because let me tighten this up and I'll show you what happens. We don't want to do this, because it's going to bury that thing. See that? It's going to bury it, and it's not stopping, right? That's why you want it to ratchet out so that it doesn't go so deep like that, right? So let's do this guy. That. That even buried that, and that's on that lowest setting. So you just want to be careful with that, right? So the tip came out, and it even went a little bit low. That's the only thing you got to be concerned with when you're using this drill. Unless you just want to keep an eye on it and slow down when you get to the end. So see how it messed up the wood when I over tightened it compared to this? This is the look you want, where it's flush like that. So did you see that? I had this thing on the lowest setting and it still wanted to over tighten it. So we got to be really, really careful with that, right? If you want it to come flush or sink it a little bit, pay attention to that collar, because that's going to adjust how tight you can make those screws go in there. So if you're putting together a very, a lot of stuff where where there's 50 of those Allen wrench screws, hex wrench screws, using this would take you forever. And so I would say that getting a drill, and you can use this drill for so many different things. I've had a video on it, and it'll walk you through other things you can use it for. But boy, that almost pays for itself if you spend a day putting together something from that store. If you buy a lot of furniture from there, I'd highly recommend that as opposed to using this. So, all right, so I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.